next, we have Rob McLeod from Heatherdale Resources. Let me just share the agenda here real quick. And Rob McLeod has been a guest before, so I'm really excited to hear what he has been up to the last few months. And I know there are drill results pending, so I hope they come out soon. Rob, can't wait to get that update on from you there.
Well, good morning, neighbor. Thanks so much for having me and having the company on Heatherdale this morning. And it'll probably be the last time we'll be introducing the company as Heatherdale, because as you and many of our investors and shareholders know, we will be changing our name to Black Wolf Copper and Gold here very shortly. So I'm just going to turn on the presentation here. And my other neighbor, George, see him walking around. Great. And he's a shareholder, unless he's pounded it out, and I'm also a shareholder of Integra.
I still own.
Hey, that's good. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. It's great to have the opportunity to update you on our company, and also to maybe reach some new investors to what we think is going to be really a game-changing business strategy. Game-changing ESG strategy. There's our company's vision is to be an industry leader in transparency, inclusion, and innovation. And this really forms the root of everything we do. On the innovation side, technically using a really strong geological team to look at deposits differently, transparency and inclusion to really emphasize these new ESG requirements from many of the world's largest investors to determine whether or not they invest in a resource company. But we intend to take that element to this company to the next level, where we think this is going to add tremendous value to shareholders, in addition to all stakeholders around where our projects are going to be. So what most of my presentation today is going to be on our flagship deposit called Niblack, which is located in Southeast Alaska. But we have quite an ambitious plan, which would include other corporate development opportunities and acquisitions within the near future. But starting with Niblack, it already has a substantial high-grade underground resource. There's been a lot of work done, over $80 million spent on the property, lots of drilling. It's a wide open deposit. There's 2 rigs that are currently out there. We do have assays pending from our initial drill program last fall. The crux of the business model is hub and spoke mines and mill that will service tidewater accessible deposits in Southeast Alaska and tidewater or road accessible deposits in Northwest BC. This area of the world is where our team really has a competitive advantage. I grew up in Stewart, BC. I'm a 3rd-generation miner, which is right on the border with Alaska. And our team has spent the majority of our collective careers working in the region. We currently today, I believe my sub's the last one to come in, and get into a couple of details on that in a moment. But we have a very good share structure, just with 22 million shares outstanding. So we're just trading in like a little less than $20 million market capitalization. So we think once we start getting some news out, we're really going to see a nice appreciation in certainly in the share price. A lot of over half the stock is in escrow, and we're also well capitalized. Our largest institutional holders include Crestcat. Of course, we're going to listen to Tavi later on today in the conference, as well as Delbrook Capital and a legacy shareholder called Sino Capital. Lots of new institutions coming in. So I took over almost a year ago, it'll be a year ago in June as CEO. We restructured our board of directors last summer, recapitalized the company in the fall, took care of a bunch of debts, rehabilitated the site, and went out and initiated a drill program. Now, the most important thing about this drill program, and this is going to be a big portion of the presentation today, is that we wanted to test a new geological theory that this volcanogenic massive sulfide sequence was in fact overturned. Now, if you had a tabular deposit, that it's really shouldn't matter too much. However, this deposit, it's older, has been folded. So we wanted to see if this geological theory was correct. And we drilled an area that has no resources in around a past producing mine last fall. And we expect assays out in less than 2 weeks, probably around 10 days. We're blacked out to receive until we get the financing closed. And as mentioned, we will be changing our name to Black Wolf Copper and Gold, which we believe will better reflect our company's spirit and vision. So our business model here is to look at a hub and spoke polymetallic type central location for a mill. And there's a few different opportunities that we've been looking at, both in Canada and in Southeast Alaska. This would lower a collective environmental footprint and would bring a lot of deposits that are either marginal or sub-economic by blending ore together into one deposit. So we intend to be executing on that in the coming year. So where's the project located? Very southern end of the Alaska Panhandle on a large island called the Prince of Wales Island. This is in the traditional territory of the Haida Tlingit people. I'm from Stewart, right across the border in the traditional territory of the Nisga'a people, and at the southern end of the Golden Triangle. Now, one of the challenges with Niblack, but also the big opportunities, it's located right on tidewater. Like you go up 100 meters and there's our access portal. And but you have to barge the ore somewhere. And once ore is on the water and you're transporting it around by barge, it's very cheap. So, you know, even like we've looked at, hey, you know, I, of course, haven't asked Arwen yet, but like High Gold, which is up by Anchorage, maybe they could barge ore from there. You know, yeah, I think this could be a real unique opportunity to advance so many of these projects. So Niblack itself, there it is on tidewater, lots of drilling, a kilometer-long production-sized decline where we've been doing underground drilling. And there's even a low-interest loan facility for a potential mill site out at Ketchikan provided by the government of Alaska. Current resources, 5.6 million tons of indicated polymetallic copper, gold, silver, and zinc. It's a very wide ore body. We'll get to that in a minute. It's over 100 meters wide in places. The largest deposit is Lookout. That's where, with this current phase of drilling, that we've been targeting extensions to that zone. There's also about 3.4 million tons of inferred. There will have been 3 drill programs subsequent to this resource. It's getting a little stale, so we're going to be updating it next quarter. So this is a VMS deposit, volcanogenic massive sulfide. The closest global analog, if many of you remember Nevsun Resources, they had the Bisha deposit in Eritrea. Geochemically, structurally, metallurgically, this is very remarkably similar. There's a whole master's thesis written on that. So 3 areas we drilled in around the old mine that's produced 100 years ago. Those are where we're going to have our initial assays out, very high copper. And then Lookout and Trio is where there's current resources. We're drilling there, and Lookout West, which is just the western extension of the deposit. So I mentioned that geologically things have been overturned. So the old interpretation is in yellow. The new interpretation is in purple, drilled by the old mine, currently drilling over here from underground, the Lookout zone. Here's the old interpretation. You had an antiform, upside down U, down to a U, another antiform. This is wrong. And these are different colors. It actually goes synform, antiform. So these assays will be out shortly. We're drilling over here. So in summary, just to make it completely clear, 2 different areas that we're drilling. We're going to have results out from, probably we'll have enough drill holes out there for an initial resource, and then stepping out with some pretty large, actually, step out holes in and around the Lookout deposit. So what do we expect in terms of assays coming up? We completed 10 holes in around the old mine. They sort of range from 2 to 8% copper in previous holes. This was with the old interpretation. They thought it was skied out, didn't have any place to go, any legs to it. Good gold content in places up to 4.9 meters of 13 grams gold with 5% copper. So these, and then good zinc and silver credits. these are the assays that are coming shortly. This is what I love about just how wide open this deposit is. Like the last couple of holes that were drilled on the property, 130, 130 to 31, 32, 12 meters of 4% copper, 10 grams gold, 11% zinc, 240 grams silver for the silver bugs out there, and then 5 meters of the similar grade. That's where we're stepping out from. And with one of the drills, the other drill is there's one deep intercept where there's no resources. It's almost 100 meters below current resources. The massive sulfide horizon was identified with 23% zinc and 2% copper and 3 grams gold. We are pattern drilling around that intercept to find where's the big, thick, wide area. So in 3 dimensions, this is what it looks like: open, down, down plunge. And we're drilling essentially in these 2 gray areas, and we'll keep on chasing it to depth. This summer, now it's really rare to see any of these drill holes. This has never been followed up. I won't get into the details why it had more to do with licenses to cut, but 19 meters of 6% copper. We're going to do some geophysics and then drill down depth from that. This is a great ore body to mine. There was historic mining. It's been metamorphosed, so good metallurgy. Its average thickness is 15 meters. And it's up to 100 meters wide in places. We just recently re-released some of the recoveries, 94% for copper, 90 to 93% for zinc. We're doing work to get the gold up. It's at 72, silver 76. So by finer grinds, we're producing a pyrite concentrate. We can keep that. We are progressive on the environmental and permitting and social side. Over half of our team that's been out at site are Indigenous. Over half of our management team and most of our technical team are female. So we're really trying to make social change happen as a direct example. So what's coming up for news? Drill results from multiple areas. We are going to have the new name change, de-risking the project with some social and some processing options, and some additional properties coming into the portfolio. So that's basically it in terms of the presentation. Thank you, Kai. Any questions? And by the way, I have to drive a kid to school, so I'm hoping that if there's any questions directly to me, that can be emailed. But we do have a minute or two.
We do, and let's get to that real quick. You wanted to talk about the financing real quick. We do have a question in the Q&A part about financing price with warrants, question mark. Just some details real quick. I think we can answer.
Oh yeah, quickly. So we announced that financing about 3 weeks ago. It was a $2.5 million financing. We are upsizing it. It was very a lot of demand. So we're going to be closing between 5 and 6 million at 80 cents. No warrants. I'm not a big believer in warrants. I think they overhang your share price. This is, something that's happened to us in the past, and it's just a straight share, mostly actually with existing shareholders, but new institutional ones.
Great. We got one more question in the chat that we have time for. Will you be testing the Dama discovery with the next round of drilling?
We will be drilling out at Dama. I want to get some geophysics done. There's been no IP on the property since 1993. And we're getting a good this type of deposit responds very well to that type of geophysics. And then we will definitely be stepping out. Yeah, it's a couple of kilometers away from the current resources and just look back.
Okay. Quick, short question, quick answer. Does being on tidewater cause logistical issues such as getting equipment in?
No, not at all. It's the opposite. You need a loader, and it's there within a couple hours from Ketchikan on a barge. So it's like some of the cheapest exploration. I mostly work with helicopters in the mountains and stuff. This is exceptionally convenient.
Great. Rob, thanks so much for joining us. Fantastic having you on. A fantastic presentation. Thanks for running us through it.